My name is Andrew Liebmann, and I'm a filmmaker based in New York City. My film is called Sign at All Times, a story about Brian Estrada. So it's a short documentary film, 8 minutes long, about a young skateboarder who's deaf. And I spent a week with him filming and hired a sign language interpreter to interview him as well, and just get his personal story about his life and his personal journey in how he's developed in his skateboarding and in his identity. And the hardest thing with documentaries is finding a story that's worth telling. I think anyone can go out there with a camera and film something, but if you don't have a good story, it's not going to turn into anything. And so I knew about Brian because I'm a skateboarder and I grew up in Minnesota, which is where Brian lives. And so he's pretty well known within the skateboarding scene. Everyone knows that he's the deaf skater. Not that many people have ever communicated with him, but they see him regularly. And being deaf and being a skateboarder is not a common thing. And so I felt that he was an interesting character, an interesting person to make us film about. And I didn't know any of his personal story before I began, but I just set out to learn about him and film some of his skateboarding because he's very talented, and I knew that I would have a strong visual element in the film. Brian is very humble. He is a talented skateboarder, but he doesn't really show off his skill or brag. He just pretty much skates and loves it. He really, it's his biggest joy in life is skating. And so being that he is deaf, he has a different perspective than everybody else in the skateboard scene. And so I wanted to tell the story of someone who had a different perspective, a different background than most of the people who are skateboarding. A lot of people know who Brian Estrada is because they see him skating all the time and posting videos, and they know that he's deaf, and they're impressed. They think it's so cool, but they don't know his personal story. They don't know any of his background or his struggle with his deafness. So my main goal with the film was just to get it seen. Just to have it get as much exposure as possible was the goal of the film. And so I pitched it to a skateboard magazine that's called Thrasher. And it's very well known internationally, and they have a large website, social media pages, and a big following. And I sent it to Thrasher, and I asked if they'd be interested in posting it, and they said yes. So the film has over 120,000 views. It was just posted a couple weeks ago, and a lot of positive feedback for Brian. Hundreds of comments, a lot of people following him on social media. It really, people within the skateboarding world know who he is now. And there were different articles or talk shows online where skateboarders are talking about the skate scene, and they were mentioning this video. So it was cool to see the impact of it.